The Eaton Fire destroyed my entire Blu-ray collection. It went from around 2,000 titles to like 7. And this video, it's all about me rebuilding my collection and finding the joy and regaining those movie memories that were lost. So join me as we celebrate or commemorate 6 months since the Eaton Fire, since I lost my collection. So I'm going to just go handheld here, and we're going to go around and I'm going to show you my collection that I have rebuilt in the time since then, and it's pretty good at this point. It's not at its peak. I had 2 shelves in my last collection basically, and I've got 1 shelf here with some of my stuff, some of my girlfriend's stuff. So let's go through and let's look at what the collection looks like these days after the Eaton Fire and how I've gotten through all of this. So bear with me, I'm working with a new camera here, but this is what my collection looks like now with all of the stuff that I used to have. I've got some other video game stuff, but this is mostly, movies, physical media, stuff like that. But we've got an old GameCube that I got for my birthday. The Tom Atkins Night of the Creeps figure was one of the first things I pre-ordered after I lost my entire collection. I do enjoy Funko Pops, so I've got some of my favorite characters and stuff right here. McCready, some Goosebumps characters, some Iron Maiden ones. I was really happy to get the Stranger in a Strangeland one. The Iron Maiden Senjutsu box set, I did get to keep that one as well from my collection, an Eddie 2-pack of Future Past World Tour figures. And then there's a bunch of stuff here. There's, stuff I saved, like the Halloween box set, or where's it? The Ghostbusters Ultimate Collection right here. Roadhouse and the Warriors right there. Friday the 13th is somewhere around here. It's hard when you're looking at all this stuff to try to find something exactly, but it's around here somewhere. But yeah, it's just stuff like that I've kept. And then there's, new stuff like this stuff from Vinegar Syndrome that I did on one of my collection updates that I have to put on the shelf. Stuff like this that I got. Let's go through. Some of this I've been sent by studios. Some of this I haven't. I'm not going to keep, this Yellowstone season 5 part 2 right there. I'm not going to keep that, but Better Man from the studio from Paramount, stuff like that. There's Raiders of the Lost Ark on VHS, Roadhouse on VHS, the very humble Vinegar Syndrome collection that I'm rebuilding here with some new titles, old titles, stuff like that. But it's just, I used to have an entire row like this of Vinegar Syndrome stuff, and now I have that box down there and this stuff just basically of it left. I'd like to get a lot of it back, but that takes money and time and all of that and finding all this stuff, so it's kind of hard at that point. But we've got the Halloween 4Ks to go with the box set. Just love having these back in my collection. Those are some of my favorite releases ever. And then we've got some stuff, some of this is my girlfriend's stuff as well, but she is, a big fan of Star Wars and Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, stuff like that. But we've got, some 4Ks down here of Nope, Dune Part 1 and Part 2. We've got some of the Marvel movies, The Black Phone, Speak No Evil, Knock at the Cabin, Firestarter, How to Train Your Dragon. We've got some of my books that I've replaced over time here. Some video games down there. We've got some horror books down there, some Fear Street stuff right here. My Goosebumps books are on the bookshelf in the living room, but yeah, it's just, you never think when you're doing and looking through all of this stuff, when you have all this stuff, how do I ever replace this? And so it really, for me, has been the sort of joy of finding this stuff again and seeing oh, hey, Vinegar Syndrome has From Beyond on sale, and it's the different slipcover, but it's the same movie, and you can get it for not $100. That's the fun part of this. It's finding movies like Miami Connection, which I love, finding that on Facebook Marketplace from another collector, not from a reseller, from another collector that just wants, some money for the stuff that I don't know. But it's just finding stuff like that and realizing, I love this stuff still. I love these movies. I love The Keep, Sidekick. Some of it still is sealed, you can see my copy of Going South or Dangerous Game. There's stuff I still have to watch. And that's something I'm going to prioritize as well, is watching a lot of it. Getting through all of this stuff. This stuff, some of these are sealed. I ended up buying, what was it, 3 copies of the Halloween 4K collection, 1995 to 2002, because I found one that was, used, still had the shrink wrap on it, but was opened. And then I got sent one by the good people at the Universal Home Entertainment division. They saw my story and sent me a box of movies that was from their collections. It was stuff like that was just kind of heartwarming. It was weird to get a box from Universal that had a bunch of Paramount and Scream Factory and stuff in it that was not. I looked at it and I was like, there's like Paramount stuff in here, there's Sony stuff in here, what the hell is this? And it was from their own collections, and that was kind of heartwarming to see. Here's the Friday the 13th box set. See, when you're looking at all this stuff, it's hard to find. The Thing, re-getting the Trick or Treat collector's edition, that was a thrill. Getting the Amityville collection from Vinegar Syndrome again, that was a thrill. Like seeing that in the store. Like going up, grabbing this box, and seeing it in the store, it's strange. It rekindled like a feeling that I had for loving all of this stuff. And, you know, you see all of these movies. Some of these I'm not going to keep. Some of these I am going to keep. Some of these I've gotten from friends. You know, the Highlander 4K from Studio Canal right there. That's a great set. Just some of this stuff is it's just awesome to see. But yeah, so I have this 4-row shelf. It's the same brand as my old one, except it has this, you know, new top part here. But I love it. I want to get more of these shelves and eventually get my collection back to where it used to be. Bigger and better than ever. That's the goal here. And so if you're going through something like this, or you're going through a similar situation with losing your collection, or you're trying to find meaning in collecting again, because I know for a lot of you out there, it was just kind of hard to sort of figure that out. So here, let's go to the handheld here again, and just kind of the meaning of collecting is finding that joy that you used to have that you need to find again. And so that's the one thing that I can tell everyone here, is that finding that joy is the best part about collecting. It's the best part about recollecting, relearning all of this stuff. It's kind of like riding a bike. Once you still have the love of it, it's, you know, man. This is going to be guerrilla style here, because I don't really feel like going through all of the cool camera angles and stuff that I used to have here. So yeah, that's just finding, collecting. Let me fix the lighting here. But through collecting and the people that you meet, I've said this before, and I've said this a million times, is just getting the community of people that I've met through collecting. That has helped me get through all of this. The people here on YouTube, the people in the comments that leave nice comments that say, hey, you know, your videos are great, keep going, or whatever. It does make me want to keep going. And I'm going to get emotional again here. It's been 6 months since I lost my entire collection, like I said at the top of the video. And in those 6 months, you know, opening a box and seeing Animal House on top of it, or finding something like, you know, Southern Comfort, which was the last movie that I watched at my house. This right here. This is not the original copy, obviously. I had to rebuy this, but I'm going to get emotional watching this movie again, because it's a great movie. It's Walter Hill, one of my favorite directors. But just like the memories of sitting in where my house was, where my collection was, and watching stuff like this, and watching movies, and the memories that were out there, and the memories with my collection, that I can make new ones now. And I think that's what's really gotten me through a good portion of this, is knowing, okay, well, you know, you had a hard time. Everyone's going to have a hard time here, but you can get through this, and you can figure it out by just learning and growing as a collector and as a movie watcher and as a critic and all of that. That's another thing. You know, I'm a movie critic as my day job. Movies like this have helped me, and that profession is just kind of growing my sort of spectrum of movies that I've enjoyed. You know, I used to be a lot narrower, horror, action, 80s stuff. And now I've expanded that. And so you can see that in this new version 2.0 of my collection, the Mark II, I'll call it. Because Deep Purple used to call their lineups, you know, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4. So I guess I'll call this one Mark II. This is Mark II of the collection. You can officially call it that in the comments if you'd like to. But yeah, it's just stuff like this, or it's, here we go. You'll see my phone case maybe here, but like a release like this, like the Lethal Weapon 4K that just came out. I did a video on this, but stuff like that that makes you excited again, or that new 4K of Night of the Living Dead 1990 that's coming out. I saw that and I went, you know, that's something to look forward to. That's kind of awesome to feel, like to feel that in today, of looking forward to something like that. So I'm looking forward to that release. I want to watch it. I want to see the uncut version in 4K. But just all of that with collecting and in life in general, you can figure out something where you can look forward to stuff. You know, you might lose everything, and I did, and this is how I'm coping with it. This is how I'm dealing with it, is through, I don't want to say positive thinking, but stuff like that, like where it's a personal thing, but you can make it into a thing that helps other people as well. And that's kind of what I want to deal with. And what I want to do is, if other people go through something like this, or they go through something that's similar, they lose their collection, it's stolen or whatever, they have to sell it for money so that they can, you know, pay rent or whatever, they have to get it back. I want to be able to help people through that with my videos, and this video too, where, you know, all of this is just stuff, but at the end of the day, this stuff is what makes me me. You know, this movie, Ghostbusters, is what makes me me. You know, Roadhouse, that's just a movie that has such a personal connection for me, and that I love dearly. I love that movie. I love the 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. But it's just stuff like that that has gotten me through all of this, and figuring out how I'm going to rebuild my collection, and the journey and the process, which is not over with, but getting it to a place where I'm proud of it again, to show people, to show all of you here on YouTube. So yeah, it's just all about finding that joy again. And that's the biggest lesson I can give to any other collector out there, is collecting and finding the joys in your collection, your personal collection, because people can go on here, they can go in the comments and they can say, oh, your collection's not as good as it used to be, blah, blah, blah. It's not your collection, it's my collection. So that's what you can say is, you know, to anybody, you know, your collection might be 10 movies, it might be 50 movies, it might be 200 movies, it might be 2,000 movies, 4,000, 10,000, whatever. You know, this physical media stuff, it is at the end of the day just stuff that, you know, could turn to ash. And so figuring that out and doing that has been a process, but it's been a fun one, to say the least. So that is commemorating, or whatever, I was going to use the word, but commemorating 6 months since my collection was gone, and the process of rebuilding it, and how I rebuilt it, and how I found joy in that process. So if you like this video and you want to see more like this, you can check out this video right here. It's probably a playlist. It'll be a bunch of my videos about collecting physical media. You can go through and you can see my old collection, you can see my new collection and new videos. So thank you for watching, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do all that YouTube stuff, because it really helps me out. But yeah, thanks for watching, and check out this playlist.